It has been almost a year since we started providing these recorded meditations. It was last Lent as the pandemic began to take hold. We have learned a lot since then, and we are so very grateful to those who have made this form of staying in touch possible, especially Janelle and Zach. And we are grateful to all of you as well for your appreciation of our efforts and for your encouragement to continue these weekday disciplines. Just as we did last year, we will use a Living Compass book to guide our Lenten reflections this year. And this year's title is Listening with All Your Heart, Soul, Strength, and Mind. But before we get to the first of the book's meditations, I want to tell you about some special features of these Lenten devotions. To begin with, we will have the burying of the Alleluia and the burning of the palms tomorrow, and then the Ash Wednesday liturgy the day after tomorrow. And that's for the beginning of Lent. And then starting next week, our devotions on the Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays of each week will draw from our Lenten reading guide. Each Wednesday, we will broadcast a program from our Lenten Word and Music series. And then on Fridays, we will provide a meditation on 2 of the Stations of the Cross, 2 each week for 5 weeks. Now, for our first devotion. It was written by Lisa Saunders, and she's the Associate Rector of Christ Episcopal Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Lisa writes, "One year for Lent, I gave up yelling at my children. They were 10, 8, and 4. My volume control was no longer under control. I raised my voice far too often, making none of us happy. I told our children of the plan, and they were thrilled and took great pleasure in holding me accountable. Of all the Lenten disciplines I have taken on through the years, this one stuck. I broke a bad habit. I had been yelling because no one appeared to be listening to me. But as it turned out, the less I yelled, the more they heard me. And I found I was better at listening to them. It surprised me to realize that being good at listening is not just about hearing what someone says. It is also about how my listening makes someone feel. Ash Wednesday is the start to a season inviting us to set aside or stop whatever gets in the way of our listening well. The letters in the word listen can be rearranged to spell silent. I'm not any good at silence, but I don't think God yells. So if I want to hear God, I must get quiet. It is lovely to imagine that I might delight God by the way I listen. Listening is essential for the development of intimacy, trust, healing, and wisdom. Listening to our loved ones with our heart, to our longings in our soul, to our body, that's our strength, and to our insight, our mind. Listening to our loved ones, to our longings, to our body, and to our insight are all forms of prayer and listening to God. I find that God speaks to me most often through other people, but I also hear God's voice in my gut, in my bliss, and in my ounce of common sense. Listening with our heart, soul, strength, and mind has restorative powers. Some pain cannot be taken away, but hurt that is heard can be eased. When we listen with a desire to understand and appreciate, we unfurl and expand. The woman who touched the hem of Jesus' garment was healed of her disease, but she also got to tell Jesus the whole truth, and that he listened to her story likely healed her soul as well. Lisa Saunders concludes by saying, "My two favorite Lents were those that I was on maternity leave. I didn't take on any special Lenten practice, although I sacrificed sleep and sanity for all 40 days. I spent those Lents falling in love, nestling a grapefruit-sized head against my heart. I'm spending this Lent nuzzling the head of my infant grandson. I'm listening for his fretful cries, his contented coos, and still small voice. If I am quiet enough, I will hear the love between us flowing like a rushing river." So we begin another Lenten journey. Please take time to listen to yourself, to others, and to God, with all of your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And always remember, each and every day, that you are loved. God bless.